I feel awful.
You know what, dude? They gave it a good run.
I know, but like, I got this pain inside.
Well, come on, dude. Don't take it that hard. I mean, there's lots of reasons to be optimistic for the future.
Yeah, you're right. I feel better now.
Yeah, for the future, right?
The what? Oh, yeah, that too.
What do you mean that too? Why else would you feel better?
Oh, dude!
You ready? Big news. What? Seriously?
No pigs yet.
What? What was he doing? Wow. Bring him on. Beautiful.
You didn't say doorknob. Put down the sword!
Leafs lose 3-2 in the shootout to the Washington Capitals, officially eliminating them from the playoffs. And even if they had won, Buffalo beat the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Leafs would have been eliminated anyway. Dwayne Rollison always seems to stick it to the Leafs, even in games where he's not playing them. Things start off well though. Clark MacArthur setting up Nikolai Kulemin. His goals never really seem to be fancy, just a nice wrist shot, and he snipes his 30th of the season. The first 30-goal campaign of Nikolai Kulemin's career and the second Leaf to hit that total this season. And for the money he signed for in the summer, I am more than happy with 30 goals. What a difference a year makes. Nikolai Kulemin left off the Russian roster at the Olympics. Let's pretend the Olympics start again tomorrow. What are the odds he's left off that roster again? And that goal ties Alex Ovechkin for most goals by a Russian this season, but of course Ovechkin's got to steal the spotlight, right? Ovechkin with a blast his patented one-timer on a 5-on-3, Caps tied up 1-1. And the Caps out shooting the Leafs 9-5 in the first frame, which would actually be the best Leafs shot differential in this game. Moving on to the second period, which would end up being the worst, getting outshot 17-6. One more shot and the Caps triple the Leafs. But luckily, before things get too out of hand in that department, Phil Kessel, less than 2 minutes into the second, sets up Joffrey Lupul. Amazing goal, 2-1 Leafs. And while fans have been talking about Joffrey Lupul being on fire, obviously he's got more goals with the Leafs than he did with the Ducks in the same amount of games this season. But what about Phil the Thrill? Lots of players and lots of factors contributed to the Leafs being in the playoff push this deep into the season. James Reimer probably most obviously. But Phil Kessel has 28 points in his last 27 games. He had at least a point in 20 of those 27 games, and he has at least a point in each of the last 8 games. Kessel hit speed bumps along the way this season, obviously. Very young team, very young players still. A lot of people forget that. And in already his third straight 30-goal season, there's lots of reason to hope for Phil Kessel next year, and many years after that. And as hard as the Leafs played and as skillfully as they played over the last stretch, sometimes you need luck to be on your side. And there were nights where it was definitely there. And there were also nights where John Erskine would take a shot from the point and bank it off Luke Schen's glove into the net, tying the game and sending it to a shootout. But that goal also showed the kind of teammate that James Reimer is. Puck tipped off his defender. He's got no chance of stopping it, but he gives Luke the little tap. And even though he's young, even though he's a rookie on this Leafs team, that's the kind of leadership James Reimer has. Like, yeah, you know what? Life sucks. Wear a helmet. Let's get ready for the next shift. And it's his calming presence and his calming demeanor that allow the Leafs to play with such confidence. Oh, and his carnival saves in the dying minutes of the game. Which reminds me, that crazy save at the end of the game. Now, last year we did the Leaf Space Plays of the Year. We compiled all the best Leaf plays, we pinned them up against each other, and you voted for your favorites. This season, and this is the question of the game, I want you to send me your favorite Leaf plays of the year. Give me 3. And you'll be doing me a real favor if you don't pick the real obvious ones, like obviously the Grabovski 360 shootout goal is going to be on that list. But as I'm compiling my list, I've noticed there's not a whole lot of Reimer stuff on there, which I found kind of odd because he's been such a solid goalie this year. But I think it's just that he's so good positionally and so good at just making himself big and making saves that he never really needs to be that flashy. But saves like, the one in the final 30 seconds or whatever it was against Philly on the road, and this one show you that he's more than just a good positional goalie. I'm certainly not making the comparison here, but think back to when Cujo was the Leafs goalie. You probably think back in his time as a Leaf and you go, man, he was a great goaltender. And yes, he was. But if you go back and look at the footage and look at the highlights, Curtis Joseph might have been the luckiest goalie to have set foot on the planet Earth. And while James Reimer actively went no and tried to make that save, there's a little bit of luck involved when you make a save like that. And I think Grape said it best on, I think it was Rock'em Sock'em 8, talking about Cujo when he was still with the Oilers. Some goalies are good, some goalies are lucky. Cujo is lucky and he is good. And while they have completely different styles, and certainly they play in completely different eras, James Reimer, lucky and good. Not quite lucky enough in the shootout, stopping 3 of 4 shooters, but Mike Knuble netting the winner. But I'm sure every Leaf shooter getting stopped doesn't really help either. So the bigger question here, and I guess I'll end with this, Leafs playoff hopes, dunzo. but what was your favorite moment of the run? Certainly for me, and maybe I'm a little biased because I was there, but it would be the moment right after James Reimer made the game-winning save in the shootout against the Bruins in Boston. Just a celebration like, I can't believe we're still in this. What about you? So that's it for this one. Officially the third last LFR of the season tier, but don't worry, I'm going to be doing playoff videos regardless. Add me at leafspace.com, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, all the other stuff that I'm on, and I will see you next time.